Greetings, fencers. So today we're going to go over the newest messer that we got. So I wanted something that was under 70 centimeter blade, that had a good wide profile, and that was reasonably safe, could flex, thick edge, and all that stuff. So previous messers didn't quite cover all those requirements. What I did end up choosing was the Kvetun messer. So starting at one end, it does have a big rolled tip, so it's really not going to impact hard. And it also has a reasonable amount of flex. It will actually bend on people, and you really don't have to worry about thrusting. The blade itself is quite a meaty blade, nice thick profile. So this is what I want in my training messer. I want it to feel more like a messer. When I'm switching to thumb on the blade, I want to have blade to push on. Now the blade is actually lightly ground out on either side, so it's not perfectly flat, and that allows to get just a little bit more weight out of the blade. So the grounding is all the way from one end to near the point, and this allows the edge to stay exactly 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters isn't my favorite. 2 millimeters is still small. This has hit in between plates, hurt people's wrists, stuff like that. It definitely hits hard. And the edge retention, I definitely would not run my hand up and down this. There are no huge cutouts like on the Reginier that I did before, but it is still a lot of little needles where it gets hit, so you wouldn't want to run your hand up and down that. You would get slivers. And at the tip, they actually did about here, it actually gets slightly thinner towards the tip. It's not a complete straight back. It does have profile taper at the end. It's not quite that nice cutout though for the short edge, so that's the one downside with it. It is, from a distance, it does just look flat. The point of balance really isn't that far. Doesn't even look like quite 2 inches. So it does have that nice pulled back point of balance, so that way the blade isn't too encumbering. However, this knife is not light. It does drag you down. There's a lot more wrist strain. That's the first thing I noticed when using it, was that I'm just significantly slower using something like this than my previous messer. Here I can move it around still. However, something like an SGT, that's more just a a feather blade for a messer, I can move it around significantly faster and have zero strain on the arm. So generally people, if someone's using one of those lighter, faster messers, they'll always just be able to do 2 movements in the time it takes you to do 1. But this is a lot more realistic of a blade that's going to impact harder and move slower, so you can't just pull back and move it however you want easily. The crossguard is definitely on the larger end, good. The noggle is really thick, really robust noggle, and it does fit with pretty much all of my gloves. It does catch under the Spec Heavy plate sometimes, but not very often, which I am happy with, that this noggle is pretty usable. You can see that it quite drastically goes up and then comes down quite a ways, but it goes up first. This gives lots of room in between gloves, so unless your glove is very wide and going to get caught on the tip, it'll generally work fine and be able to move easily in it. So that's nice that this noggle works, although they do make it standard with a ring guard, and I would have preferred to have a ring guard. This is just what was in stock from Johannes Heidner. The handle is really thin. It is a very thin oval at the end, where it's almost just a line. And this, it's just kind of, it works. I'm not a huge fan of that very wide, thin handle. I find it sits in my hand a little bit too easily, that I can't turn it enough. That depends how you're sparring, your hand shape and all that, but it is definitely not a more circular, meaty handle. And it is also made thin, which they probably do that on purpose. It comes just wood, nothing on it. And so I just added my hockey tape with the twisted hockey tape underneath to give a good grip and this made it a lot more usable. It had slipped out of my hand in sparring, because once you have a mitt and glove, and it's just going to slide off very easily, so you will generally have to put something on it to feel more consistent, feel like you can really grab it and do stuff with it easily. So this messer, you know, it's giving me a bit more faith back in Kvetun, because I just don't have luck with their swords very often. But I am really happy with this messer. I think it is a great, nice, meaty long knife without being overly heavy and not super long. And I really like the weight, feel of it. It is definitely something that really gives you the feel of something that chops. And the edge retention's good, and it actually thrusts, which, you know, a lot of messers don't. So I think it is a very good and safe messer. It will impact quite hard if you're, depending on what types of blades you're used to. This will quite hit, but you know, that just comes with historical fencing. We always have to keep that in mind, no matter what weapon system we're using. If you're looking for a long knife, I would highly recommend the Kvetun messer. It is definitely one of my top choices. There are other ones that, you know, were in the running for my top pick. However, they're oftentimes more expensive and long wait periods and stuff. And so for something that is made quite often, this is definitely a good choice. So thanks for watching. Keep studying, keep practicing. Profile, and I wanted it to have a good, and I want it to be reasonably safe and